let's say we're talking about natural resources, which is very, very big, and our young entrepreneur is looking at the ideas, and I love the idea of a dandelion growing up through the pavement was her inspiration in terms of this idea of the tailing ponds. But up till now, the ability of the companies to be able to have the negative externality of the tailing pond that didn't affect the commercial value of that resource and the way that the market functioned has been limiting for us to be able to think in this more holistic way. And so I often think if we could internalize externalities, both negative and positive, so that we come more to the true value to society of what that activity is, that would help move us. But until that time, and I'll just do one anecdote. I'm famous in my teaching for telling stories. But I did my master's program half at the Kennedy School at Harvard and half at the business school. And at the business school, every day we had a case. And every day, as we went through the case, the first question from the professor was, we've got this piece of hapless public policy here somewhere in the world. How are we going to make money? And that question was asked every day. And those MBA students that I was a colleague of went off to work at Wall Street, basically, and drove a lot of what took us to 2008.
Wow. That's innovation. Yes.
I would say it's hard. It's complex. You have to think about the wider picture. And like Steve West in the last panel mentioned, talking and collaboration. And I would add listening to that. You could say it parallels with some feminist practice, to listen to the users or to your potential consumers. And when we talk about social media, we can say data mining is the perfect way to be able to do that. You can hear about people's behaviors, everything that people ate for breakfast. They're putting it out there on their Twitter feed, for instance. But you can't stop that complex analysis. You have to carry that through, even within that region, within data mining. So you have to understand that each social media platform has a specific context, that people censor themselves. Like if any of you in the room have a Facebook account, for instance, you might think for a second or two before you put something onto Facebook. You have this wide range of networks, like of friends or followers, people that come from all different contexts in your life. But there's this kind of context collapse that happens here, where you have to just broadcast one message that goes out to this whole group. So we have to just be more complex in our thinking, even at that level, even when we're looking at something like data mining.
So let's do some listening.
Sure. Okay. We've got a question here and a question here, so we'll get the microphone to you first. And a reminder to identify yourself, please.
My name's Lynn Sharman. With Jeff Walkenleck, we were partners in the blood track business. I have a question one, and then a comment probably afterwards. Let me ask you, all of you, because you're all involved in this. How many people in Canada are actually happy with their job?
We're looking for an exact number here, please.
Yeah.
Tracey?
If it's 50%, 22%, 10%, 5%, nobody's happy with their job? The reason I raise this is, you know, everybody in this room is either in a company or starting a company. And I think it's our social responsibility to make sure our employees are actually doing the job that they've got skill sets for. All too often, I think, particularly in large companies, you know, you want a job because you need to pay the rent, the mortgage, food for the kids. Doesn't necessarily mean you're happy in your job, and you may not have the skill sets for that. And to me, what part of the violence thing is the frustration that when I come home, I've had a shitty day because I'm crap at my job. So I get angry. And then from the other side of it, from the economic side of it, I'm crap at my job, so I'm not good at it, and so I'm not productive. So my comment is, and want some comments back from you, is how do we as a society make sure that the people that are working for us, all in this room, are actually the right people with the right skill sets in the job, so they go home and they're happy because they've done a good job?
Jim Collins.
well, interesting comment. I mean, it's so I'll speak to my experience with Bridgehead. We never have an issue being able to hire people. We have half the turnover that the industry average has. We pay people a little bit above, but you know, the construct of our industry is that if you're a frontline barista in one of our coffee houses, it's not a long-term career. It's not going to be. And for most, so for us, you know, we've got a lot of Gen Y kids coming in, and we want them to be happy. We want them to provide warm and engaged customer service. And that's having, it took us, we didn't figure it out. We were sort of mission driven and had strong values as a company. And the folks coming to work with us have shared values. And we make sure that we